Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be. Hope you're having a bloody wonderful day as per usual. And what I really want to chat about, just quickly, I don't know why I'm walking around. I thought it'd be a good idea, so I'm going to continue anyway. Really, what I want to focus on today is simply the fact of, with photography, it is never a one-size-fits-all scenario. You're never in that position where you see something or you hear something and you think, that is exactly what I want to do, or that is exactly how I want to go about my work. You've got to have this level of understanding and personal awareness within what it is that you're doing, and understanding how you can actually interpret it, and really focusing in on that interpretation, not just taking it and really trying to put it into place so that it's exactly like somebody else's work, no matter what it may be. I think there's always going to be this level of, I guess, technical ability that you want to strive to achieve. There's always going to be those kind of, skills that you really want to acquire, but when it comes down to it, I think that there's so much that you've really got to actually personally interpret and incorporate your own perspective into what it is that you've learned, so that you can actually provide something that's going to be unique. I mean, I often do speak about, I guess, unique images, creating something that is going to be more unique, a little bit out of the ordinary. And the reason that I really love that is I think that photography really does offer you a bunch of opportunities. And I was about to sneeze. Apparently I'm not going to sneeze anymore. It'll probably come at random when you least expect it, and I'm not going to lie, when I sneeze it is pretty intense. So I think that when it comes down to it, with photography, it offers you this opportunity to have a personal expression, and that personal expression can be driven from your perspective, your interpretation, the way that you see things. All of that kind of stuff comes into the way that you actually present your work. You don't need to, see something that somebody else is doing and think, that is exactly what I want to do. Like, there's so much that you've got to actually consider when you want to do that. And I think that the most important part is actually acknowledging that if somebody else is already doing that, do you really want to, drive yourself to do exactly what they're doing, or do you actually want to incorporate a little bit of you into it? Like, I think that it's so often misinterpreted how we as photographers and creators want to create something that has already been done, and that's not truly creating, that's recreating. It's kind of limiting yourself. It's not living up to your full potential. And sure, there's going to be a level of it when you start. You're actually going to want to go out there and try and, I guess, imitate in ways, mimic what other people are doing to see your capability. That's one of the kind of, features within how a lot of people do learn. I understand that entirely, but you've got to get to this point, and I think it's great to acknowledge it sooner rather than later, that you have an opportunity to really instill your own creative perspective into what it is that you're doing. And really, when it comes down to it, you've got to actually understand that and articulate a way that you can be intuitive with your own creativity and understand what it is that you really want to focus on, and create that kind of individuality within your work. Because that's one of the biggest things that I really think is important to note within photography, but it's also something that it really does provide and can offer an abundance of benefits, except also it doesn't limit you. It offers you this chance to really see things in a much broader way and not try and limit yourself into one particular kind of scope. Like, when it comes down to it, I think photography is something where you have the ability to truly create absolutely anything, like anything at all. And as I said, when you are learning, you're going to want to go through and, try different things that have already been done, but don't be afraid to go outside of that comfort zone. Don't be afraid to actually try things that may be different. If you really enjoy it, then, go for it. I think that it's so often not really understood that you can branch outside of what has already been done, and so many people believe that, everything in photography is already, being done. And sure, there's a level of that, but if you never try, and if you never actually go outside of that zone to really interpret something that's going to be you and incorporate your own unique vision within it, I think that that's kind of the level where it becomes a little bit more. If you incorporate something that truly is within you, and it's, you know, it's your unique perspective, like it incorporates your experience. It's never gonna be like somebody else's. I mean, obviously I'm saying when you do create something that's similar to someone else that's recreating, it's always going to incorporate your own personal kind of experiences within it, and those feelings that you have while you're within that. It's always going to have that kind of level of unique perspective. Unique perspective? Uniqueness? Uniquity. Uniqueness. I'm going to say uniqueness. We're sticking with that. It's always going to have that level of a uniqueness, but if you really want to drive outside of that, I think that when it comes down to it, if you're constantly going out there and actually creating things that really do incorporate your own personal perspective, you know what you're actually after, you know what you want to present, you know how it's going to be beneficial to others. I think that's something that really is so often misinterpreted and misunderstood about photography, but it's something where you really can gain so much from it, and it really does offer not only you but others so much. Like when somebody is viewing your work, if they see something that is so often done and it's so similar to somebody else's work, then it's not going to offer something different. It's not going to have that kind of drive to really take note of what you are doing. And I really believe that, you know, it's not all about trying to get exposure, but a lot of it, when you get into that level, is trying to, you know, present your vision with others and get them to truly connect with it. And if you're giving away your creativity to somebody else's techniques and you're not really being in tune with your own personal self, your own personal journey, you're not really, you know, you're not giving yourself the best opportunity that you can. And I believe that those kinds of things really offer an incredible amount for broadening your own perspective, but also appreciating it and understanding it. Like, you've got to kind of have this level where you really interpret things in your own way, you acknowledge that, and then you're able to kind of distinguish those thoughts and be able to present it. I mean, this comes down to a whole array of different fields. It's not just about landscape photography, but when you really want to go into a kind of field like photography, whatever it may be, even if it's creative, you know, design, like something that broad really can offer so much for you personally. But if you actually incorporate your own perspective into that and actually drive yourself to do something that may not have been done already, that is going to be incredibly valuable, like incredibly valuable. It's going to offer you so much, but it's also going to offer other people more. And that's where, if you can broaden someone's perspective through your work, that is probably the most valuable thing that you can ever try and provide within it. And I believe that so often people actually misinterpret that and kind of just give it away and don't really offer themselves the greatest opportunity they can to utilize it. But it's one of the greatest elements that you truly can absorb within yourself and be able to present. So if you acknowledge that and you actually incorporate it within your work, I feel that you'll be able to be much more accepting of yourself, you'll be more in tune with yourself, and I think that that will really provide you with a chance to actually appreciate those experiences that you are capturing, and I guess become a little bit more immersed within those situations. Like, no matter what it may be, no matter what it is that you're photographing, going out there and doing something different is remarkably valuable. You've just got to really acknowledge that, and don't be afraid. Don't think that you have to do a particular way. You're never going to fit into a mold if it's already been created. You've got to create your own and acknowledge that that is something unique, and you may be able to provide even more from that. So don't limit yourself. Do not think that you have to be a particular way, and really just embrace who you are, your own individuality, and appreciate it, and try and provide that and incorporate it within whatever creative field it may be that you're actually pursuing. And you will find an incredible amount of pleasure, satisfaction, and appreciation for the craft and for yourself. And I think that that will really rub off onto others, and people will really be able to connect with it, I think. I believe that that is something that really, really can offer an incredible amount when you really take note of it and try and incorporate it within your work. So I really do hope that you find some value within it. Give it a go and see where it leads you, because I think that that is one of the most valuable pieces that you can incorporate and interpret into your workflow, really. So if you can, go for it. If it's not for you, that's absolutely fine as well. enjoy the journey that it takes you on, but you may get to a point where you really want to challenge yourself, go outside of that comfort zone, and when you're ready, I think it's going to be extremely advantageous. That'll probably do me, but I appreciate your time, and I'll most definitely catch you on the flip side. Farewell.